Chosen one and my beloved child, before you move away from this moment, pause here for a second, because something unusual has been unfolding quietly around your life, and you have felt it without fully understanding why. There has been a strange shift in the energy surrounding your future, almost as if someone you have not even met completely, yet has suddenly become emotionally restless from afar. Not because of something dramatic you did, not because you chased attention, but because they recently discovered something about you that they never expected to feel so deeply connected to. Type Amen. If something in you already knew this message was for you, before you could explain why, and ever since that realization touched their heart, their thoughts have not been calm in the same way. Before we go further, more of this word is coming, and you cannot afford to miss what heaven releases next through this ministry. And type "they feel it" in the comments, not as a comment, as a declaration that you already sense this connection is real. Don't skip this part, because what they discovered is not loud, not flashy, not something the world immediately notices. In fact, most people pass by it every day without understanding its rarity, but your future spouse noticed it instantly, and the moment they understood who you truly are beneath the surface, something inside them changed. There are people who enter rooms and demand attention. Then there are souls like yours, the kind that quietly transform the atmosphere without trying. Your future spouse has spent years surrounded by noise, temporary connections, conversations that looked meaningful but felt empty after midnight. They learned how to smile through situations that never reached their heart. They learned how to pretend certain things did not hurt them. But recently, something about you reached them in a way they cannot explain logically. It was not even your appearance at first. It was not status, not perfection, not performance. It was the realization that you are someone who still carries sincerity in a world that rewards pretending. And that realization has been driving them emotionally crazy in the softest, most unexpected way. Some nights they sit in silence longer than usual, replaying tiny details about you in their mind. The way you speak when you are passionate about something, the way your energy changes when you genuinely care, the strange calmness you bring without realizing it. They are beginning to understand that your presence feels different from everyone they encountered before. Stay till the end, because this next part matters more than you think. Your future spouse once believed love had to feel complicated to be real. They became used to confusion, mixed signals, emotional distance, unfinished stories. But then your energy appeared in their path like a quiet interruption to everything they had normalized. Suddenly, they started questioning the people around them, questioning their own past choices, questioning why peace feels unfamiliar to them yet so deeply connected to you. And here is the part they have not admitted out loud yet. What truly overwhelms them is discovering that you are not pretending to be someone extraordinary. You are simply authentic. That is what unsettled them emotionally. Because authenticity is rare now, people perform emotions peps. But you, even with your doubts, your quiet moments, your hidden insecurities, still carry something real. Your future spouse noticed this slowly. Then, all at once, like rain gathering silently before a storm finally arrives. If something in this message already feels true in your spirit, like it now not as a reaction to a video, but as your agreement with what heaven is already moving toward you. And ever since that realization settled into their heart, they have not been emotionally normal around the idea of you. There are moments where they suddenly smile for no visible reason, while thinking about your future together. Moments where they imagine conversations that have not happened yet. Moments where they wonder how someone like you stayed so soft-hearted after everything life placed in front of you. That question lingers in them deeply, because they know how easy it is for the world to harden people. Yet somehow, your spirit still carries warmth, still carries patience, still carries hope. Something important is waiting for you in this message, because your future spouse is beginning to understand that your heart may become the safest place they have ever known. But there is another layer to this story that makes their emotions even stronger. They recently realized you are not someone who easily gives your soul away carelessly. You observe quietly, you feel deeply. You may laugh with many people, but very few truly reach the deepest parts of you. And strangely, instead of pushing them away, this realization pulls them closer. It makes them crave emotional honesty more than ever before. They are becoming restless because they do not want shallow connection anymore, after sensing what your love could feel like. Even before fully holding your hand, they are already afraid of losing the chance to truly know you. Sometimes they wonder if you understand your own impact. Sometimes they wonder whether you realize how healing your energy can become for someone exhausted from emotional games. Stay with that for a moment. You carry sincerity in a world that rewards pretending. And someone noticed, not because you performed it, not because you announced it, but because it is simply who you are. And in a world where emotional pretending has become the norm, that is not ordinary, that is rare, that is the thing your future spouse could not look away from. But here is what this means. Right now, there is someone else who carries that same sincerity and has never once been told it is rare. Someone who has been made to feel like their depth is too much, their warmth is weakness, their authenticity is something to apologize for. They have not yet heard that these are the exact qualities that will move someone deeply someday. This message exists to reach them. Through the link in the pinned comment, your seed is what carries this word to someone still waiting to be seen. And as you sow, bring the thing you have been carrying in silence with you, the part of you that has felt unseen, the love you have been saving, the prayer for the person who will finally recognize what everyone else passed by. Plant it with your seed, because what you release in faith begins moving toward what has been prepared for you, and what you send forward reaches someone else who needs to hear what you just heard. They think about your future together in quiet flashes, ordinary moments that somehow feel magical to them, sitting together after long days, laughing over small things no one else would understand, feeling emotionally safe enough to stop pretending. Your future spouse is becoming deeply attached to the idea of finally experiencing peace with someone instead of confusion. And that idea scares them a little because peace is unfamiliar territory for them. Yet your presence keeps pulling them toward it, and listen carefully to this, because this part is rare. They are not obsessed with a fantasy version of you. They are becoming emotionally moved by the real version of you. Your imperfections, your quietness, your emotional depth, your resilience, the way you continue moving forward even after disappointment, the way you still try to protect others from pain, even when your own heart feels tired sometimes. These are the details changing something inside them. They thought they wanted excitement without stability. Now they are realizing they want both. And somehow, your energy carries both at once. There are still things unfolding behind the scenes that neither of you fully understand yet. Timing is still arranging certain moments. Distance is still shaping certain lessons. But emotionally, something has already begun. Your future spouse can feel it. That is why their thoughts about you have become so intense lately. That is why your presence keeps returning to their mind unexpectedly. They are slowly recognizing that what they feel around you is not temporary curiosity. It feels meaningful, grounded, different, and that realization keeps growing stronger every single day. But don't leave yet, because the next part of this journey reveals what happens when they finally stop hiding these emotions from themselves. And when that moment arrives, the connection between you may become impossible to ignore. A strange thing is happening in your future spouse's heart right now. The more they try to act normal about you, the more emotionally distracted they become. At first, they believed these feelings would pass quietly, like every temporary fascination before. They told themselves not to overthink your energy, not to romanticize the connection, not to let their mind wander too far ahead. But something keeps interrupting that logic every single time they think about you. And the interruption is always the same feeling: comfort. Deep, unfamiliar comfort. The kind that reaches places inside a person they stopped showing to the world a long time ago. There are moments lately where they suddenly become quiet in the middle of conversations with other people. Because your presence crosses their mind unexpectedly, someone asks them a simple question, and somehow they start thinking about you. They hear a certain song, and your energy appears again. They imagine future plans, and without even realizing it, you are standing somewhere inside those visions now. Don't skip this moment, because what they are feeling is becoming impossible for them to dismiss. Your future spouse is slowly recognizing that your connection is affecting them emotionally in ways they never prepared for. And here is what truly unsettles them. They are beginning to care about your feelings before fully knowing how deeply you care about theirs. That vulnerability feels dangerous to them. Sometimes they are not used to emotionally safe connections. In the past, they learned to protect themselves by staying emotionally distant until people prove something first. But your energy disrupted that pattern quietly. Instead of fear making them run, the more they discover, the more emotionally attached they become to the mystery of your heart. Late at night, they replay tiny imagined moments that have not even happened yet. Walking beside you somewhere peaceful. Watching you smile when you forget to guard yourself emotionally. Listening to you speak about something meaningful, while your eyes light up naturally. These visions arrive unexpectedly and stay longer than they should. Sometimes, they catch themselves smiling afterward without explanation. Sometimes, they feel nervous about how real these emotions are becoming. Because for the first time in a long while, they are not emotionally excited by chaos. They are emotionally moved by sincerity. Stay till the end, because something important is unfolding beneath all of this. Your future spouse recently realized that you are the kind of person who changes lives quietly. Not through grand speeches, not through dramatic moments, but through presence. Through understanding people deeply, without making them feel judged. Through remaining kind, even when life gives you reasons not to be. They see a softness in you that survived difficult seasons, and that realization keeps touching them emotionally in ways they cannot explain to anyone around them. There is also something else they have not admitted openly yet. They are beginning to fear disappointing you. Think about that carefully. In a world where many people only worry about protecting themselves, your future spouse is starting to wonder whether they are emotionally ready to deserve someone like you. Because your energy does not make them want to perform better temporarily. It makes them want to become better genuinely. That feeling overwhelms them sometimes. It forces them to confront old habits, emotional walls, unfinished healing, and hidden insecurities they normally avoid thinking about. Yet instead of pushing them away from you, it pulls them even closer. And the reason this connection feels so powerful is because your future spouse senses that you would see through any mask they wear eventually. Not in a harsh way, not in a judgmental way, but in a deeply honest way. They feel as though your soul would notice every hidden sadness they pretend does not exist. Every silent disappointment, every exhausted part of them, longing to finally rest emotionally somewhere safe. That realization is making them emotionally restless lately, because deep down they have wanted this kind of connection for longer than they admit. Sometimes they wonder whether you already feel their energy approaching your life slowly, because there are moments where the emotional pull becomes almost impossible for them to ignore. They begin imagining what your first truly vulnerable conversation might feel like, what it would feel like to finally stop pretending around someone, what it would feel like to receive love without constantly questioning whether it is temporary. Your future spouse has spent more time than you realize carrying emotional uncertainty quietly. But around the thought of you, something inside them finally starts relaxing. And this next realization changed everything for them. They no longer want a connection that only looks beautiful from the outside. They want depth now, loyalty, emotional honesty, peace, shared silence without awkwardness. They want someone whose presence still feels meaningful after the excitement settles. And the moment they realized you carry those qualities naturally, their emotions became impossible to organize neatly anymore. Depth, loyalty, emotional honesty, peace. That is what your future spouse is searching for in you. And if you are honest with yourself, that is also exactly what you have been searching for in them. This is the mirror at the center of this story. You are not the only one who has spent years craving depth over performance, loyalty over excitement, peace over confusion. The same longing that lives in you lives in them, and the same longing lives in someone else right now. Someone who has not yet heard that what they are searching for is real, is coming, is already in motion. Your seed here is not just generosity. It is a declaration. When you give from this place, from the part of you that has spent years craving depth over performance, you are not just supporting a message, you are making a choice. The same choice your future spouse is slowly making right now. To stop settling for what only looks beautiful from the outside. Through the link in the pinned comment, a coffee, a donation, or a place in this community. And as you sow, Bring your prayer for the specific love you have been waiting for. Not a general prayer. The kind of love you mean when you are honest in the quiet. The depth you want. The peace you have been carrying hope for. The loyalty you have never fully had but have never stopped believing exists. Plant that prayer with your seed, because what you name in faith, heaven begins to move toward you. That is why they seem emotionally consumed by the thought of you lately. Not because you are perfect, but because your energy feels real in a world full of performances. There are still hidden pieces of this story unfolding quietly. Timing is still moving certain events into place. Some conversations have not happened yet. Some truths have not fully surfaced yet. But emotionally, your future spouse is already changing because of you. Even before fully entering your life, your presence is reshaping what they believe love can feel like. And what happens next may surprise even them. Because soon, they will stop trying to deny these feelings and start moving closer to the connection they secretly cannot stop thinking about. Something shifted again recently inside your future spouse. And this time, even they could not ignore it. The feeling became too strong to explain away with logic. Too personal to dismiss as coincidence. They were going through an ordinary moment pretending to focus on everyday life. When suddenly your energy crossed their mind with unusual intensity. Not as a fantasy, not as passing curiosity, but as someone who already feels emotionally important to their future. And the realization hit them quietly. You are becoming the person they compare everyone else to without even trying. That thought unsettled them more than they expected. Because now, every shallow interaction feels emptier than before. Every temporary connection feels easier to walk away from. Your future spouse has started noticing how rare emotional sincerity truly is. And once they recognized it in you, they could no longer comfortably return to emotionally disconnected conversations and surface-level affection. Stay a little longer because this part matters deeply. She is beginning to understand that the peace they were searching for in so many places may have been quietly connected to you all along. There are nights where they imagine your future together so vividly that it almost feels like a memory instead of imagination. Not dramatic scenes, not unrealistic perfection. The moments that move the most are surprisingly simple. Looking at you during a quiet drive while music plays softly in the background. Watching you speak passionately about something meaningful. Feeling your hand reach for theirs naturally without hesitation. These tiny imagined moments affect them emotionally more than anything flashy ever could. Because for the first time, they are craving emotional stability instead of emotional intensity alone. And here is the truth. They are slowly admitting to themselves. You make them want to slow down. That feeling is unfamiliar to them. Your future spouse senses that loving you would not feel like constantly fighting for reassurance. Don't skip this next part, because something important is happening beneath the surface. Your future spouse recently started realizing how deeply they admire the way you carry yourself after difficult experiences. You do not constantly announce your pain. You do not turn your wounds into performances for attention. Yet somehow they can sense the quiet strength inside you. The resilience, the emotional maturity, the softness you protected despite disappointment. And that combination keeps overwhelming them emotionally because they know how difficult it is to remain gentle after life tests someone repeatedly. Sometimes they wonder if you understand how attractive emotional honesty truly is. The world taught many people to hide vulnerability behind pride, games, and emotional distance. But you, even when guarded sometimes, still carry truth in your energy. Your future spouse notices that immediately. They notice how your kindness feels genuine instead of calculated. They notice how your presence makes people feel seen. And secretly, they have become emotionally addicted to the idea of being fully understood by someone like you. There are moments where they become nervous, thinking about meeting you more deeply someday. Not because they fear you, but because they fear how real the connection could become once walls disappear completely. They sense that you are the kind of person capable of touching parts of their heart nobody else ever reached properly. And honestly, that possibility excites them and terrifies them at the same time. Because deep down, your future spouse has carried hidden loneliness longer than most people realize. There was always a quiet emptiness sitting underneath everything, but lately, your energy has been interrupting that emptiness unexpectedly. Like light slowly entering a room they forgot could feel warm again. And now they are beginning to imagine a future they stopped believing was possible for them emotionally. A future where love does not require emotional exhaustion. A future where trust grows naturally instead of painfully. A future where they can finally rest emotionally beside someone who genuinely understands their soul. That dream used to feel distant to them. Now it feels strangely close. Whenever they think about you, stay till the end, because the next realization changed them completely. Your future spouse recently understood that they do not just admire your energy. They deeply respect it. Respect is rare. Attraction can happen quickly. Curiosity can fade easily. But respect grows slowly. And once it settles into the heart, it changes everything. They respect your resilience, your emotional depth, your ability to remain compassionate without becoming weak. They respect the way your presence feels calming instead of draining. And the moment admiration transformed into emotional respect, their feelings for you became much more serious internally. That is why they cannot stop thinking about you lately. That is why your energy keeps returning during quiet moments. That is why they suddenly care about becoming emotionally ready for real love. Because without fully realizing it, your future spouse is already preparing space in their life for you emotionally. And what makes this story even more beautiful is that the connection has not fully revealed its strongest chapter yet. Something meaningful is still approaching slowly between you both. Timing is still shaping certain details behind the scenes. It is still shaping certain details. But your future spouse can already feel that change is coming. They can feel that their heart is moving towards something deeper, calmer, and more genuine than anything they experienced before. And soon, they may stop hiding these emotions from themselves entirely. There is a quiet tension building inside your future spouse. Now, the kind that appears when someone realizes their life may be about to change emotionally in a very real way. At first, they thought these feelings would remain distant and manageable, but your energy kept returning stronger each time they tried to ignore it. And lately, something about you has started feeling strangely familiar to them, as if their heart recognizes your presence before their mind fully understands why. They have begun noticing how differently they react to thoughts of you compared to everyone else. With others, their emotions always carried hesitation, doubt, emotional exhaustion. But with you, even uncertainty feels softer somehow. Even the unknown feels hopeful. That difference has affected them deeply. Don't skip this moment, because your future spouse is beginning to realize that what they feel around you is not built on illusion. It feels grounded, calm, real. And that realization is becoming impossible for them to escape. Sometimes they catch themselves imagining how your voice would sound after a difficult day, how your presence would feel during silent moments, how safe it might feel to finally be emotionally honest with someone without fear of being misunderstood. These thoughts arrive naturally now, without force. And each time they appear, your future spouse feels their emotional walls weakening little by little. What surprises them most is this. They are no longer dreaming about perfect love. They are dreaming about peaceful love. Type 11. About waking up beside someone who feels emotionally genuine. About being accepted without needing to constantly perform strength. About finding a connection where silence does not feel uncomfortable and honesty does not feel dangerous. And somehow, every version of that peaceful future keeps leading them back to you. Stay till the end. Because something important is unfolding quietly behind these emotions. Your future spouse has started reflecting on their past relationships in a completely different way. Lately. Not with bitterness. Not with regret alone. But with understanding. They are finally seeing how many times they settled for connections that only distracted them from loneliness. Instead of healing it, they confused attention with affection, excitement with emotional compatibility, temporary closeness with lasting understanding. But your energy disrupted all those old patterns without even trying. And now they are beginning to recognize something that changes everything. Your presence does not make them feel emotionally drained. It makes them feel emotionally restored. That feeling is rare for them. Rare enough to scare them sometimes, because once someone experiences emotional peace, it becomes difficult to return to emotional chaos comfortably. There are moments where your future spouse suddenly wonders whether fate has been preparing both of you separately for longer than either of you realize. They think about all the disappointments, delays, lessons, and unexpected detours life placed in front of them. And slowly they begin understanding that perhaps those experiences were not punishments at all. Perhaps they were preparation. Preparation for a connection that would finally feel balanced instead of confusing. Even before everything fully unfolds, they find themselves caring deeply about your happiness, caring about your emotional safety, caring about whether life has been gentle enough with your heart lately. That tenderness inside them keeps growing quietly every day. And the more it grows, the more emotionally attached they become to the idea of building something real with you. Sometimes they wonder if you realize how much comfort your energy naturally gives others. You may not always notice it yourself, because to you, your kindness feels ordinary, your patience feels normal, your emotional depth feels natural. But to someone who spent years surrounded by emotionally unavailable people, your presence feels extraordinary. Your future spouse feels this deeply now. That is why their emotions seem almost uncontrollable lately whenever they think about you. Because they are no longer reacting to attraction alone. They are reacting to emotional relief. There are nights where they lie awake longer than usual, imagining conversations with you that have not happened yet. Honest conversations. Vulnerable conversations. The kind where two people slowly stop hiding parts of themselves. And every time they imagine those moments, they feel both excitement and fear mixing together inside them. Excitement because your connection feels meaningful. Fear because meaningful connections have the power to change people permanently. But something inside them keeps whispering the same truth over and over. You may become the person who finally makes them believe that love does not have to hurt to be real. That peace is not the absence of passion. That someone can know the most honest parts of them and stay anyway. That whisper is no longer quiet. It is becoming the loudest thing in their heart. Someone in your life needs to hear this today. Someone still waiting to believe their future spouse is out there. Still feeling unnoticed. Still wondering if their depth will ever be recognized by the right person. Share this message with them now. What found you today may be exactly what they have been searching for. Finally, that word has been living inside both of you for a long time. Finally, someone who does not need you to perform. Finally, someone who recognizes depth. Finally, a love that feels like arrival instead of exhaustion. Finally, peace where there was always confusion. Your future spouse is moving toward their finally. And you are moving toward yours, who have settled for connections that kept them distracted, but never made them feel safe. This message exists to reach them before they give up. Finally, does not begin with arrival. It begins with release. The moment you stop holding your hands closed, waiting, protecting, not in vague terms, the specific version. The emotional safety you are still waiting to feel. The person who will look at your imperfections and stay anyway. The love that will feel like finally coming home. Plant that prayer with your seed. Because what you release with that kind of specific faith, God honors with that kind of specific answer. And your finally is not as far away as the waiting has made it feel. Type, I am ready in the comments. Not because everything is perfect, but because your heart has been saying it quietly for longer than anyone knows. Let heaven hear it now, my beloved child. What is unfolding around your life is not ordinary. The connection being prepared for you was never built on performance. It was always built on truth. The truth of who you are. The truth that someone out there is already emotionally changing because of you. The truth that your sincerity, your depth, your quiet resilience is not too much. It is exactly enough. Stay open. Stay honest. Stay soft. Because what is coming toward you has been waiting for the exact version of you that already exists. And it is closer than it has ever been. Type finally in the comments. Not as a wish. As the word your heart has been holding quietly for longer than anyone knows. If you desire to deepen your connection, join Archangel Michael's inner circle immediately through the exclusive link in the pinned comment. whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community. By accepting this invitation right now, you are unlocking immediate, early access to powerful content and divine insights that are hidden from the general world. Now is your chance to enter a sacred space where you will receive spiritual guidance, unwavering support, and speedy progress toward your destiny.